With the upcoming sequel to Disney's Moana on the horizon, I thought it'd be fun to go over all the myths about our favorite Polynesian Superman. Do keep in mind that there are many versions of the same story, depending on the culture. But for this video, I will mostly focus on the Hawaiian and the Maori versions. According to Maori legends, Maui was the son of Taranga, wife of Makeatotara. He was born premature, which according to the Maori was a terrible omen, as children that were miscarried or born premature became malevolent spirits. And so, his mother tossed him into the ocean, just like the movie mentioned. However, ocean spirits found the baby and swaddled him in seaweed until he was fully formed. And it was only then that the ocean delivered him onto a beach. Many years later, Maui finds his family, consisting of his mother, 4 brothers, and a sister, having a party. Maui joins in, much to everyone's surprise and suspicion. His mother and siblings were just about to kick him to the curb again when Maui's eldest brother accepted him and scolded everyone else for being terrible people. And so, everyone welcomes him to the family, even if somewhat reluctantly. According to Hawaiian legends, many years ago, the world was a dismal and pitiful place, and it was all because the sky was too close to the ground. The few trees that grew did so crooked, with flattened branches that became tangled with other trees. Men and women were forced to crawl on their hands and knees like animals, as there was no room to stand upright. Maui saw how much humans were suffering and decided to help. He visited a kahuna, or a priest and healer, who tattooed a magic symbol on his forearm, giving him special powers. Then he visited a wise old woman, who gave him a gourd to drink from. This gave him immense strength, and after a bit of a struggle, Maui lifted the sky way above the mountains, giving humans, animals, and plants room to grow tall and strong. It all started when Maui heard his mother complain about not having enough time to dry her clothing. It was then that he noticed just how short the days were. Humans as well were having trouble finishing their daily chores because the sun was moving too fast. And so, Maui, either with the help of his sister or his 4 brothers, weaves a rope and noose and travels eastward, moving only during the night as to catch the sun by surprise. When the sun began rising, Maui snares the sun's rays, as these were thought to be the sun's arms. And after a brief struggle, in which Maui threatened to beat up the sun, it finally gives in, and the sun agrees to move slower. Although it is said that Maui's ropes are still there, just in case the sun gets the wrong idea. This story begins with Maui having trouble catching fish for his family, always going home empty-handed, leaving the family hungry and disgruntled. Maui begs his brothers to accompany him to one last fishing trip before giving up and letting his brothers do all the fishing from now on. So off they go, but this time, Maui brings a magical hook, which some stories say was carved out of an ancestor's jawbone. Maui throws his fish hook, called Manayakalani, as far as he could and waited. Just as his brothers were getting ready to leave though, the hook catches onto something big. While Maui held onto the line, he makes his brothers paddle, telling them that he caught a fish that could feed them all. The brothers paddled and paddled, with Maui's encouragement, but instead of a giant fish, Maui had pulled a piece of land up from the bottom of the sea. Still, his family didn't give him any more grief, as an island can feed a family better than any fish. This story has several versions, but for this video, I will only be telling the Maori version. So one evening, Maui lamented how tired he was of eating raw fish over and over again, and longed for something warm and good. He desired the secret to making fire, so he went to Mahuika, the goddess of fire, and also his grandmother, for her expertise. Mahuika lived in a cave in a fiery mountain at the end of the earth. She gave Maui one of her burning fingernails, so he could take it back to his village and make a fire. But this was not enough for Maui, as he wanted to give fire to all humanity, not just his village. And so, Maui extinguished every burning nail that Mahuika gave him. He did this until the goddess grew enraged and set the entire world ablaze. Meanwhile, Maui barely escaped by turning into a hawk. Because the world couldn't just stay on fire, Maui enlisted the help of his ancestors. First, Tawiri Matea, god of weather. Then, Waitiri Matakataka, goddess of thunder. Together, they put out the fires and made the landscape very wet and humid. But Mahuika was not finished. She threw her last burning fingernail at Maui, but missed, and hit some trees instead, which gave them the ability to be burned. Once everything was settled, Maui collected sticks from these trees and taught humans how to make a fire by rubbing them together. One evening, Maui's sister Hina, or his mother in other retellings, was minding her own business at a nearby stream when a giant eo named Kunaloa spotted her. Kunaloa is immediately smitten, but Hina understandably rejects him. Furious, the eel diverts a river into the cave where Hina was resting, attempting to drown her. But thankfully, Maui notices this and rushes in to save her. And though Hina continued to evade Kunaloa, both she and her family grew tired of his harassment. And so, Maui captures the eel and cuts it up into pieces, which later became the sea creatures known to us today. It is often mentioned that Maui buried Kunaloa's head in the seashore, and with time, gave rise to the first coconut tree. These are just a few of Maui, the demigod's accomplishments. And, because this video was in progress before Moana 2 came out, I am remaining hopeful that Disney will expand on this world and do it justice. But also, a part of me knows that Disney sequels and reboots are either a hit or miss or blatant cash grabs. Still, I'll hold any comments, positive or negative, until I watch it. Thank you again for staying until the end. I will see you in the next one.